by cooperative living. Sometimes it happens that one father accumulates wealth by illegal ways, and the son takes away the money, although it is hard earned by the father. Just as a small fish in the ocean eats the material body of a large, old fish. One ultimately cannot accumulate wealth illegally for the gratification of his family, society, community, or nation. That many great empires which were developed in the past are no longer existing because their wealth was squandered away by later descendants is an illustration of this principle. One who does not know this subtle law of fruitive activities and who thus gives up the moral and ethical principles carries with him only the reactions of his sinful activities. His ill-gotten wealth and possessions are taken by someone else, and he goes to the darkest region of hellish life. One should not, therefore, accumulate more wealth than allotted to him by destiny, otherwise he will be factually blind to his own interest. Instead of fulfilling his self-interest, he will act in just the opposite way for his own downfall. Akrura continued, "My dear Dhritarashtra, I beg to advise you not to be blind to the facts of material existence. Material conditional life, either in distress or happiness, is to be accepted as a dream. One should try to bring his mind and senses under control and live peacefully for spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita it is said that except for persons of Krishna consciousness, everyone is always disturbed in mind and full of anxiety. Even those trying for liberation or merging into the Brahman effulgence, or the yogis who try to achieve perfection in mystic power, cannot have peace of mind. Pure devotees of Krishna have no demands to make of Krishna. They are simply satisfied with service to him. Actual peace and mental tranquility can be attained only in perfect Krishna consciousness." After hearing the moral instructions from Akrura, Dhritarashtra replied, "My dear Akrura, you are very charitable in giving me good instructions, but unfortunately I cannot accept them."
A person destined to die does not utilize the effects of nectar, although it may be administered to him. I can understand that your instructions are valuable. Unfortunately, they do not stay in my flickering mind, just as the glittering lightning in the sky does not stay in a fixed cloud. I can understand only that no one can stop the onward progress of the Supreme Will. I understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, has appeared in the family of the Yadus to decrease the burdensome load on this earth." Unquote. Dhritarashtra hinted to Akrura that he had complete faith in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the same time, he was very much partial to his family members. In the very near future, Krishna would vanquish all the members of his family, and in a helpless condition, Dhritarashtra would take shelter of Krishna's feet. To show his special favor to a devotee, Krishna usually takes away all the objects of his material affection, thus forcing the devotee to be materially helpless, with no alternative than to accept the lotus feet of Krishna. This actually happened to Dhritarashtra after the end of the battle of Kurukshetra. Dhritarashtra could realize two opposing factors acting before him. He could understand that Krishna was there to remove all the unnecessary burdens of the world. His sons were an unnecessary burden, and so he expected that they would be killed. At the same time, he could not rid himself of his unlawful affection for his sons. Understanding these two contradictory factors, he offered his respectful obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The contradictory ways of material existence are very difficult to understand. They can be taken only as the inconceivable execution of the plan of the Supreme, who by his inconceivable energy creates this material world and enters into it and sets into action the three modes of nature. When everything is created, he enters into each and every living entity and into the smallest atom. No one can understand the incalculable plans of the Supreme Lord. Unquote. After hearing this statement, Akrura could clearly understand that Dhritarashtra was not going to change his policy of discriminating against the Pandavas in favor of his sons. He at once took leave of his friends in Hastinapur and returned to his home in the kingdom of the Yadus. After returning home, he vividly informed Lord Krishna and Balaram of the actual situation in Hastinapur and the intentions of Dhritarashtra. Akrura was sent to Hastina.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Brought by Krishna's study. By the grace of the Lord, he was successful and informed Krishna about the actual situation. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta report of the 48th chapter of Krishna on motivated Dhritarashtra. Okay, what shall we do?
What shall we do? We can read next chapter.
Okay, this is verse 49.
Chapter 49.
Verse 49. A text for chapter. First chapter. Krishna erects the Dwarka fort. After Kamsa's death, his two wives became widows. According to Vedic civilization, a woman is never independent. She has 3 stages of life. In childhood, a woman should live under the protection of her father. A youthful woman should live under the protection of her young husband. And in the event of the death of her husband, she should live under the protection of her grown-up children. Or if she has no grown-up children, she must go back to her father and live as a widow under his protection. It appears that Kamsa had no grown-up sons, and after becoming widows, his wives returned to the shelter of their father. Kamsa had 2 queens, Asti and Prapti, and both happened to be the daughters of King Jarasandha, the lord of the Bihar province, known in those days as Magadharaj. After reaching home, both queens explained their awkward position following Kamsa's death. The king of Magda, Jarasandha, was mortified on hearing the pitiable condition of his daughters. When informed of the death of Kamsa, Jarasandha decided on the spot that he would rid the world of all the members of the Yadu dynasty. He decided that since Krishna had killed Kamsa, the whole of the Yadu dynasty should be killed. He began to make extensive arrangements to attack the kingdom of Mathura with his innumerable military phalanxes, consisting of many thousands of chariots, horses, elephants, and infantry soldiers.
Jarasandha prepared 13 such military phalanxes to retaliate the death of Kamsa. Taking with him all his military strength, he attacked the capital of the Yadu kings, Mathura, surrounding it from all directions. Sri Krishna, who appeared like an ordinary human being, saw the immense strength of Jarasandha, which appeared like an ocean about to cover a beach at any moment. He also perceived that the inhabitants of Mathura were overwhelmed with fear. He began to think within himself about the situation of his mission as an incarnation and how to tackle the present situation before him. His mission was to diminish the overburdened population of the whole world. Therefore, he took the opportunity to face so many men, chariots, elephants, and horses. The military strength of Jarasandha had appeared before him, and he decided to kill the entire force of Jarasandha so that he would again go back and recognize his military strength and reorganize his military strength. While Lord Krishna was thinking in this way, 2 beautiful chariots, fully equipped with drivers, weapons, flags, and other paraphernalia, arrived for him from outer space. Krishna saw the 2 chariots present before him and immediately addressed his elder brother Balaram, who is also known as Shankarshan. Quote, "My dear elder brother, best among the Aryans, you are the lord of the universe, and specifically you are the protector of the Yadu dynasty. The members of the Yadu dynasty sense great danger before the soldiers of Jarasandha, and they are very much aggrieved. Just to give them protection, your chariot is also here, filled with military weapons. I request you to sit on your chariot and kill all these soldiers, the entire military strength of the enemy. Both of us have descended on this earth just to annihilate such unnecessary bellicose forces and give protection to the pious devotees. So we have the opportunity to fulfill our mission. Please let us execute it." Unquote. Thus Krishna and Balaram, the descendants of Dasharha, decided to annihilate the 13 military companies of Jarasandha. Krishna went up on the chariot on which Taruka was the driver, and with a small army, to the blowing of conch shells, he came out of the city of Mathura. Curiously enough, although the other party was equipped with greater military strength, just after they heard the vibration of Krishna's conch shell, their hearts were shaken. When Jarasandha saw both Balaram and Krishna, he was a little bit compassionate.
He was a little bit compassionate because both Krishna and Balaram happened to be related to him as grandsons. He specifically addressed Krishna as Parusadama, meaning the lowest among men. Actually, Krishna is known in all Vedic literatures as Purusha Uttama, the highest among men. Jarasandha had no intention of addressing Krishna as Purusha Uttama, but great scholars have determined the true meaning of the word Purushottama to mean one who makes all other personalities go downwards. Actually, no one can be equal or greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jarasandha said, "It would be a great dishonour for me to fight with boys like Krishna and Balaram because Krishna had killed Kamsa." Jarasandha specifically addressed him as the killer of his own relatives. Kamsa had killed many of his own nephews, yet Jarasandha did not take notice of it. But because Krishna had killed his maternal uncle, Kamsa, Jarasandha tried to criticize him. That is the way of demoniac dealings. Demons do not try to find their own faults, but try to find the faults of their friends. Jarasandha also criticized Krishna for not even being a Kshatriya, because he was raised by Maharaj Nanda. Krishna was not a Kshatriya but a Vaishya. Vaishyas are generally called Guptas, and the word Gupta can also be used to mean hidden. So Krishna was both hidden and raised by Nanda Maharaj. Jarasandha accused Krishna of three faults: that he killed his own material uncle, and he was hidden in his childhood, and that he was not even a Kshatriya, and therefore Jarasandha felt ashamed to fight with him. Next he turned towards Balaram and addressed him, "You Balaram, if you like you can fight along with him, and if you have patience then you can wait to be killed by my arrows. Thus you can be promoted to heaven." It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita that a Kshatriya can benefit in two ways while fighting. If a Kshatriya gains victory in the fight, he enjoys the result of victory. But even if he is killed, he is promoted to the heavenly kingdom. After hearing Jarasandha speak in that way, Krishna answered, "My dear King Jarasandha, heroes do not talk much, rather they show their prowess. Because you are talking a great deal, it appears that you are assured of your death in this battle. We do not care to hear you any longer, for it is useless to hear the words of a person who is going to die, or one who is very distressed." To fight with Krishna, Jarasandha surrounded him from all sides with great military strength, as the sun appears covered by cloudy air and dust.
Thank you very much. This is 7 o'clock now. We have to just continue this same chapter tomorrow. But I hope you all had a wonderful day, filled up to the top with hearing and chanting about Krishna, and therefore successfully watering your bhakti lata, the creeper of devotion, in your hearts. And tomorrow, by the way, is Ekadashi, another wonderful chance, wonderful opportunity to fill up our day to the last second with focused hearing and chanting. And Ekadashi is especially auspicious for chanting extra japa. So there's a challenge for everyone to chant the 64 rounds or however many rounds you manage to chant. But we encourage you all to increase your quality and quantity of chanting tomorrow, especially. Thank you very much. We're going to continue a little bit with more kirtan here amongst ourselves, and see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.